Kalidasaha Mahakavihi. The fourth lesson in this is a selection of about 10 verses from Purva Megha. So Megha Sandesham is a kavyam, it is a Sandesha kavyam, and it's split into two. One is Purva Megha, the other is called Uttara Megha. I'll just go over the introduction that he has given. Mahakavina Kalidasena Raghuvamshaha Kumarasambhavam iti dve Mahakavye. He has written two Mahakavyam. Mahakavyam has specific lakshanas there. Like the Mahakavyams have to have a description of Nagara Arnava Shaila Rutu, Nagara Arnava Shaila Rutu, not all of these descriptions, but one or two of those descriptions. Birth of children, vivaham, yuddham, these kind of descriptions should be there. So he has written Raghuvamsha and Kumarasambhava, which are two great kavyams, Mahakavyam. Mahakavi Vikramurvashiyam and Shakuntalam are the three dramas, Trini Natakani. All three are Nataka. They are not, they belong to the category of Natakam, which is one of the category of Rupakam. So when you look at drama or play, the technical name is Rupakam. Natakam refers to one particular variety of drama. It is a drama wherein Shringaram will be the prominent rasa. It will have anywhere between 5 to 7 acts. There will be a hero, heroine, that kind of, there is a definition for Natakam. So Natakam is not just, you can't translate it as just drama. It is a variety of Rupakam. Okay. So Malavikagnitram, Vikramorvashiyam, Shakuntalam, these are the three Natakas that he has written. Meghadutam iti Sandesha Kavyam. It is also a Khanda Kavyam. So Khanda Kavyam, or there is either a Mahakavyam or a Khanda Kavyam or Kavyam. In general, there can be Kavyam, poetry. Mahakavyam is very specific that it deals with a particular theme and it follows the definition given by Dandi in Kavyadarsha. So that is Mahakavyam. If you go to Khanda Kavyam, it has some of those descriptions, okay, very less of it, and it is not as vast as a Mahakavyam. So Mahakavyam is Sargabandho Mahakavyam Uchyate, so it should be divided into sargas, whereas a Khanda Kavyam need not be divided into sargas at all, or there is no divisions at all. It can just be a section, or he can say there are only 2 parts, or not even 2 parts, just 1 part of 100 shlokas. Like Niti Shatakam is a Khanda Kavyam for you. Any Sandesha Kavyas are Khanda Kavyas. So Mahakavyam and Khanda Kavyam difference is the Mahakavyam is divided into cantos or sargas. Okay. So Meghadutam is a Sandesha Kavyam. Even under Khanda Kavyas, you have this division called Sandesha Kavya, where it talks about sending a message. This was probably the inspiration for many other Sandesha Kavyas that came afterwards in the 8th century and 12th century, etc. In fact, Meghadutam, but there is one Jaina Kavi, Jineन्द्ra, he has written one Parashvanatha Kavyam, which follows verbatim the Meghaduta. He takes 1 line or 2 lines from the Meghadutam, and then the rest of it is a description of the Jaina poet or Jaina Mahaswami, a sannyasi, he Jain monk. So he starts off with I think Snigdachaya Tarushu Vasatim Ramagirya Ashrameshu would be the same, or Kaschit Kanta Viraha Guruna Swadhikarat Pramattaha. It would start off like that, and then the next 3 lines will be very different. So that is how he was influenced. So we can compare Parashvanatha, that Jinendra Kavi's Kavyam, with Meghadutam to find out the proper readings for Meghadutam also. So that way it was a great influencer. The most famous one of Hamsa Sandesham has been written by Deshika, which is supposed to imitate Megha Sandesha, and he wrote it as a challenge to better Kalidasa in Sandesha Kavyam. That is a Sandesha between Rama and Sita. Here it is some yaksha. Sandesha Kavyeshu Meghadutam iti Kavyaratnam Shirobhushanayate, Shirobhushana iva acharati Shirobhushanayate. So it is like the crown jewel, crest jewel among all Kavyam, all Sandesha Kavyas. Asmin Kavye Vindhya Pradeshat Akailasam, starting from Vindhya's mountain to Kailasa, Akailasam. यानि यानि प्रकृति रमणीयकानि तानि सर्वाणि अपि वर्णितानि. All of the beautiful places have been described here. He also takes diversion and describes Ujjaini, even though it is not in the path of the Megha. So he says, you will be completely cheated if you don't go and see the beautiful sights that are there in Ujjaini. So take a diversion and then you proceed north. So Ujjaini, because it is Kalidasa's own this thing, own city, he wants to describe his hometown there, so that's why he probably takes a diversion then and describes it. Then atra kechit shlokaha adhodattaha. So some of the shlokas have been given here. Megha Dutam iti kavyam. So you can give the vigraha vakyam for it as Meghaha eva dutaha yasmin tat iti Megha Dutam kavyam. You can't do this adhikritya kritam kavyam. When you do that, then it should take on a tadhita or Megha Dutiyam varno. Since it is only known as Megha Dutam, then we have to do it as Meghaha eva dutaha yasmin tat iti. So kaschit kanta viraha guruna swadhikarat pramattaha shapenastam gamita mahima varshabhogyena bhartuhu yakshas-chakre janakatnaya snana punyodakeshu snigdhachaya tarushu vasatim ramagiryashrameshu. The entire kavyam is in a very slow meter. There is no change of meter at all. There are about 200 plus shlokas, which is all in this meter called Mandakranta. So you have to go very slowly with the meter. So my teacher would recite it in a very beautiful tune. Kaschit kanta viraha guruna swadhikarat pramattaha. You have to go slowly with it, because you have to feel that that separation and that love that the Yaksha had for his wife. Shapenastam gamita mahima varshabhogyena bhartuhu yakshas-chakre janakatnaya snana punyodakeshu snigdhachaya tarushu vasatim ramagiryashrameshu. So it's got a very lilting tune, and it will set the mood for the whole poem here. So that's why the meter's name is also called Manda Akranta. It has a very slow gait. So Manda Akranta iti. Another small story, if you have read Chittur Pariksha, I don't know if they have it in Patamala, about this Asti Kaschid Vagvisheshaha iti Kalidasasya Patni Tam Prichhati iti. So, and the wife asks, do you have any intelligence? And the way she asks is Asti Kaschid Vagvisheshaha. So he uses those three as the beginning words for three of his kavyams here. Two are Mahakavyams and one is the Sandesha Kavyam. Asti starts off Kumara Sambhava, Astuttarasyam Dishi Devatatma iti. Vak iti Vagartha Viva Sampraktau. Raghuvamsha starts with Vak, and Megha Sandesham starts with Kaschit. So Asti Kaschit Vak Visheshaha. Kaschit Kanta. He starts off with something, no name. We don't need the name of the person, because the focus is not on the person. The focus is on describing the geographical beauty of Bharata Desha at that time when Kalidasa was present. So for him, the name of the Yaksha is not necessary. Kaschit Yakshaha, that's all. And then Kachit Yakshi, towards his wife, that's all. There is no name of the wife is also not mentioned here. Bhartuhu shapena. So here Bhartuhu shapena, who that Bharta is also not relevant. It is not mentioned. But as with everybody, our curiosity is such that we want to try to figure out who this could be. Who is this Bharta? What is the name of the Yaksha? What is the name of the Yakshi? You know, all that. And then so research goes on, and the person who has compiled this, SVR, he has given a section at the end of the first shloka to describe where and who, why, etc. So, Brahma Vaivarta Purana Anusarena Hemamali Nama Yakshaha. So, according to Brahma Vaivarta Purana, there is this Yaksha whose name is Hemamali. Yakshas were ruled by Kubera. So, Pratidinam Shankara Pujartham Pratak Kale Kusumani Anayati Sma. He was probably a gardener who was taking care of Kubera's garden. And so his work was to bring flowers for Shiva Puja every day. Kubera and all of the Yakshaganas are Shivaganas. They are the devotees of Parameshwara. Ekasmin dine, so much so that Kubera had given his backyard for Parameshwara to do tapas. So Alakapuri's garden is this Sthanumanam, or not Sthanumanam, adenna the place where Parameshwara was doing tapas. That section of Kailasa is part of Kubera's land. So Kubera gave that section for Parameshwara to do tapas, and Kubera used to do Shiva Puja every day. The Yaksha's work was to bring flowers for that. So Kusumani Anayati Sma. Ekasmin dine Priya Bharyaya Saha Bhashamanaha Saha Pujartham Pushpani na Anitavan. This is the story given in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. Okay, so Priya Bharyaya Saha Bhashamanaha. He was talking with his wife, and he neglected his duty, so he did not bring the flowers for puja. Kartavyat pramattaha iti. So he pramattaha nama inattentive. He was not attentive in his work. So Swamina Kuberena Shaptaha Pravasam Akarot. He was cursed by his lord Kubera. So hence he was sent away. This is one version. Other versions which people have speculated about are that he was he had just married, so Navavadhu sa, and he had left her home, and then he had come for guarding the garden. When Kubera arrived to the garden, he was thinking about his wife, and so he neglected his duty. That is another version that some people say. So he was cursed by Kubera. This is another version also. But the Brahma Vaivarta Purana gives a more authentic version of this. Right? So the Vrittam is Mandakrant.
Tasya Pravasam Akarot. So it is the Kubera who is doing it, right? So there is something wrong.
Kuberena Shaptaha Sanna Tasya Varakudadu, I think. Because Tasya Pravasam Akarot, what does that mean? Kasya Pravasam Akarot?
Yakshasya.
Kaha Yakshasya Pravasam Akarot. So Shaptaha also Yakshaha. Pramattaha is also Yakshaha, Prathama Vibhakti. Then it should be Kuberena Shaptasanna Swasya Pravasam Akarotin Rikano.
Swasya Biku. Karta is Kubera, right?
Sari, Karta may be Kubera. But how can you have Tasya here suddenly Shashti Vibhakti ingre?
There's some trouble there.
Exactly. That's why it has been removed. I think, she just removed that and gave. So it is better if it is like this. So Kaschit Yakshaha Vasatim Chakre. So Kaschit Yakshaha, some Yaksha here, no name for us right now. So Saha Kanta Viraha Guruna Swadhikarat Pramattaha Sanna Bhartuhu Shapena Astangamita Mahima Sanna Kaschid Yakshaha Janakatnaya Snana Punyodageshu Snigdhachayasu Snigdhachayatarushu Ramagiri Ashrameshu Vasatim Chakre. So Swadhikarat Pramattaha. Why was he So that's where people try to connect different things. Knowing the Brahma Vaivarta Purana story, this Anvaya makes more sense. Without the Brahma Vaivarta Purana story, you will take it as Kanta Viraha Guruna Swadhikarat Pramattaha. So he neglected his duty. He was inattentive with respect to his duty, Swadhikara, because of the weight of viraham, the weight of separation from his beloved. Kanta viraha guruna eva saha swadhikarat pramattaha asititi. Whereas here he take it as swadhikarat pramattaha sanne, being, neglecting his duty, he was made to, stay for 1 year away from his wife. Kanta viraha guruna varshabhogyena saha bhartuhu shapena. Then it becomes an adjective to shapa. Is it clear? So until then,
if it was taken like simply Kanta Viraha Guruna, it won't even make sense, because daily he can go home, there won't be any Kanta Viraha Guruna. After doing the job, he can go home.
That's okay. He may, it may be fine. Ana, Kanta Viraha Guru, he can go back. Ana, still, because it is a Navavadhu, he doesn't want to be separated from her even for that daytime of 9 to 5 that he has to go for a job.
Oh, okay.
That separation itself seems very heavy for him.
Okay.
So, because of that, he was thinking about something else. அப்படிதான் நாங்கெல்லாம் படிச்சிருக்கோம். We have read it like this, in this manner. Kanta Viraha Guruna, because he was separated from his wife, she was a Navavadhu, he had spent the entire night, he came to work, but as soon as he came to work, he was supposed to take all the flowers and go meet Kubera and give him the flowers. Whereas he was just thinking about the enjoyment, how he spent his time with his wife, and he was feeling very lonely now that he had separated from his wife and he had come for work right now. So he neglected plucking the flowers and going to Kubera. That is one way of approaching, because Kalidasa has never said that this is a story from Brahma Vaivarta Puranam, which is how it should go. Appadi avar sollala. Adinala we are entitled to make our own conclusions here also, right? Yeah. So that is another way of giving Anvaya. Lena Swadhikarat Pramattaha Sanna. So, going by what this Vyakhyata has given, Swadhikarat Atmaniyogat Pramattaha Anavahitaha, one who is inattentive in his work, because of that, he was Bhartuhu Shapena, and that Shapa, adjective for Shapa, there are two adjectives for Shapa. One is Kanta Viraha Guruna Shapena, Varshabhogyena Shapena. The curse which is supposed to be in the other next, Viraha Gurunangarthala cause and effect is an issue here. That we need to check out. So, Shapena, Adhikarat Pramattaha iti Karanat, that becomes the Karanam, and then the effect is that he was separated from his beloved by the Shapam. So, the separation is the Shapam here. And his Astangamita Mahima, his greatness is also completely gone right now. He loses his divine powers. And in general, if you are separated from, if you are in separation and you are tormented by it, naturally, and the pulivi elandumbo. So that natural brightness that is there is gone, because you are suffering in without your beloved. Hence, there is that you lose your brightness here. So, Astangamita Mahima. Furthermore, because he was cursed and he was made to live in the Bhumi, in the Vindhya mountains area, he also lost his divine powers. He was like a human there. So, Astangamita Mahima. His Mahima was Astangamitam. It had set, in the sense it was not there at all. Tadrisha Varshabhogyena. So, Shapena, the Shapam was such that it was Varsham Bhogyam. He had to enjoy, or he had to experience that Shapam for an entire year. completely. Kala advanor atyanta samyoge. So he had to, without even taking a break of a day, two, nothing of that sort, he had to be separated from her for one whole year. Okay, so varsha bhogyena bhartuhu shapena, because of the curse of his bharta, of his lord, which made him to enjoy, which he had to experience for a one whole year, with the weight of that separation from his beloved. Now here he says priyayaha guruna virahena, or virahena guruna varsha bhogyena. So viraham becomes the cause and guru becomes the adjective for varsha bhogya, or adjective for the shapam. So because of separation from his wife, the 1 year seems more, it seems too much, it seems too heavy for him, because he is separated. When you are with your beloved, even a year becomes like a 1 minute. Whereas if you are not with your beloved, then a year may be translated to a yugam also. You don't know. So that is why it was even more weighing down on him. Time odudhu appadane illa perspective.
So this is the shapam. Did they give, like those days, did they give any reduced presentum for good behavior and all?
அதெல்லாம் எதுவும் கிடையாது. என்ன பரோலா? குட் பிஹேவியர் பிரிசன்டா? அதெல்லாம் கிடையாது. இதெல்லாம் வந்து சாபம்னா சாபம், 1 இயர்னா 1 இயர். அங்கெல்லாம் நோ. தட் இஸ் வை இட் இஸ் கால அத்வனோர் அத்தியந்த சம்யோகே வருஷம் போகேன. யூ ஹேவ் டு டேக் இட் அஸ் தித்தியா விபக்தி அங்க. அதான். So saha astangamita mahima yakshaha. Now where did he go and stay? He stayed in Ramagiri ashrameshu vasatim chakre. He went and stayed in the ashrama padam, the hermitage, all the ashramas that were there near in Ramagiri, which is a mountain. And why did he choose? One thing is, it is a very beautiful place. So it was Chaya Tarushu, the Chaya Pradhanam Taruhu. You can go through the idla pinnadi nariya. He gives Vigraha Vakyam, which will give you an explanation of all the words. I'm not going to go through that. If you have any doubts, you can ask me later. So right now, Snigdha Chaya Tarushu, among the ashramas which were filled with trees that had thick shade. So it was a pleasant place to spend 1 year. If you have to spend 1 year, already you are suffering. You don't want to live in a desert place. You would rather live in a place which is pleasing to the eye. You have so many other things to while away your time also. Yeah, you want to live in comfort. A solace, yes. It also gives him a kind of peace. Right? The other thing is punya aspect. Janakatnaya snana punyodakeshu. There are rivers and water bodies which are punyam, which are pavitram, sacred, because Janakatnaya, the daughter of Janaka, Sita, has taken snanam there. So it is a pavitrata api vartate tatra iti karanat tatraiva he chose that place. Yeah, and the bahuvachanam here, does he mention that therila in Tatparyam or anywhere? Does he mention? Illa. Okay, so 2 aspects to consider here. One is the bahuvachanam that is there. ராமகிரி ஆசிரமேஷு ஹி இருப்பு கொள்ளலாம் போல, ஒரு இடத்துல இருப்பு கொள்ளல, அதனால பல இடத்துல இருந்தாம்போ. You are unable to stay in one place. So because of that familiarity, you want a new place. The moment you get familiar with one place, again the weight of your viraham comes in and it will bother you. So immediately you have to go to another place there, so that the new sights, you can entertain yourself with the new sights. That is why there is bahuvachanam here. He kept hopping from one ashrama to another ashrama, so that to entertain himself and get his mind off that viraham. Another thing is vasati.
That's like Vishwamitra kept going east, west, north, south, like that.
அப்படியா? எதுக்கு போனார் அவர்?
Vishwamitra kept going to different directions to do the tapas, right?
ஓ அப்படியா? எங்கேயாவது கான்சென்ட்ரேஷன் வருமானா? ஓகே, ஐ டோன்ட் நோ தட். வசதிம் சக்கரேங்கிறது எப்படின்னா, இட் இஸ் அ தின் உணாதி பிரத்யா. he takes it as அதி. இங்க வந்து அதான் பார்த்தேன், வசு தாத்து அதி பிரத்யான்னு போட்டிருக்கார். ஆக்சுவலி இட் இஸ் அ தின் பிரத்யா. வசு பிளஸ் தின், அது அத்தின்னு அப்புறம் வருதோ என்னமோ. தி ஐடியா இஸ் வசதிம் சக்கரே நது உவாச. he just he resided there. He did not take up residence completely. அதாவது வெறும்னா இருந்தான், அவ்வளவுதான். அப்படிதான் எடுத்துக்கணும். அது வந்து அப்படியே, இட்ஸ் நாட் அ பர்மனன்ட் ரெசிடென்ஸ் that he had created, but he stayed there because he had no other choice, and he was just merely staying there without his mind completely involved and absorbed in the whole thing.
It's not heartfelt.
Heartfelt stay illa அந்த இடத்துல. There are some vacations when we go there, we feel like we don't even want to get out of that place. அந்த மாதிரி இல்லைங்க. He just stayed because he had to stay there. That's all. Nothing else. He was not completely involved there. So tatha yakshaha vasatim chakre. So he just took up residence there. avladhaan. कश्चित् कान्ताविरह गुरुणा स्वाधिकारात् प्रमत्तः शापेन अस्तंगमित महिमा वर्षभोग्येन भर्तुः. So I'll just go over the bhavartha alone if there is any issue here. आत्मनः नियोगे कृतापराधः. Okay, one who has made a mistake in his niyoga, in his appointment work. कश्चित् यक्षः स्वामी शापात् प्रिया वियुक्तत्वेन, because of the fact that he was separated from his wife, संवत्सर पर्यंत काल यापनार्थम. So to yapanartham, to complete the time of 1 year, janakyaha snana pavitra jaleshu. Kalidasa is very influenced by Valmiki Ramayana. You will find this in the 12th sarga of Raghuvamsha also. 10th and 11th and 12th sarga of Raghuvamsha, where the Rama story is covered. He takes a lot of inputs from there, and here too there are 2 places where he mentions Janaki. One is here, and then at the end in the Uttaramegham, when we spoke about on the Sundarakandamla, appo sonne Janaki iva Maithili iva unmukhi sa iti. So he starts off by mentioning that this is a place where Sita had taken bath. So snana pavitra jaleshu Prachura Nameru Vriksheshu. So Nameru trees are huge shade giving trees. So there were a lot of these trees in that Chitrakuta Ashrama Pradesha. So Ramagiri or Chitrakuta are the same. Nivasam Akarot. Kailasa Parvate Alakapuri Namanagari. Indrasya Koshadhyakshasya Kuberasya Rajadani. Oh, I forgot to read this part. Okay. The from Vindhya mountains to Kailasam he is describing, because Kailasa is where there is this city called Alakapuri, where Kubera, who is the Koshadhyaksha, treasurer for Indra, Kubera is staying there. That is his capital. Shringara rasasya dvau bedau sambhogaha vipralambascha asmin megadutagavye vipralamba shringarasya eva pradhanyam atra pravasa rupaha vipralamba shringaraha. There are many types of vipralamba shringara. Sambhoga shringara and vipralamba shringara are the 2 types of shringara rasam. And in vipralamba shringara there are pravasa, irshya vipralamba, shapa vipralamba. There are different types of vipralamba. There is a difference between Vipralamba Shringara and Karuna Rasam. Karuna Rasam is where the possibility of union itself is not there. So it refers to death, usually. Whereas in Vipralamba Shringara, there is an expectation of meeting again. That's why it is essential to give the Shapa Kalam as 1 year. So there is an expectation of meeting again. That is Vipralamba Shringara, which is love in separation. Whereas Karuna is pathos completely. So there is no love as such in that. The Alankaras here, Kavyalingam, समर्थनीयस्य अर्थस्य समर्थनं काव्यलिङ्गं समर्थकः हेतुः वाक्यार्थः पदार्थः वा अत्र स्वाधिकारात् प्रमत्तः इति पदार्थहेतुना प्रियावियोग कारणस्य उक्तिः शापरूप समर्थनीयस्य अर्थस्य स्वाधिकारात् प्रमत्तत्वरूप समर्थनं क्रियते इति काव्यलिङ्गालङ्कारः. So काव्यलिङ्गालङ्कारः is that where you have something needs justification. So samarthaniyasya arthasya samarthanam, justification of some statement which needs justification. So the hetu that is given as a justification can either be in the format of a vakyam or it can be in the format of just one padam. Here it is neither a vakyam nor just a single padam, but it is a single phrase. So you can say swadhikara pramattatvam becomes the phrase which justifies the shapam. Why was he given a curse? A yaksha who is a divine being, why should he be given a curse? Because he was inattentive in his work. So that hetu is given, and the hetu is in the form, it is not in the form of a full sentence. Full sentence, the best example is Kuvalayanandatla. You have Machittesti Trilochanaha. Jitosi Manda Kandarpa. Manda Kandarpa, that is Cupid, Manmatha, you have been won over. I have conquered you. So conquering Manmatha is not something that is easy. So it needs justification. What is the justification? It is in the form of a sentence. Jitaha asi Manda Kandarpa machitte, in my mind, Trilochanaha asti. Yaha Tritiya Lochanam upayujya tam bhasmi akarot, right? So that reference in the form of a sentence becomes the hetu for Manmatha being conquered. Clear? So this is Kavyalinga Alankara. Can go to the next one. Tasmin adrau katijid abala viprayuktasya kami नीत्वा मासान् कनकवलयभ भ्रंशरिक्त प्रकोष्ठः आषाढस्य प्रथम दिवसे मेघमाश्लिष्टसानुं वप्रक्रीडा परिणतगजप प्रेक्षणीयं ददर्श. So as he was expected to spend 1 year here, now these are all clues to decide when he got a shapam, when he came down to Vindhya Parvata, what is this Ashadha Masa, and then when does he go back, and idella research points. Okay, so anybody who wants to do PhD research, they will pick up on this. If you have access to Kale's Meghadutam edition, there is a notes section where he writes about this Ashadha. Is it Shravana? Is it Jyeshthamasa? Is it Bhadrapada? He will just go into detail about that. Doesn't matter. All he did was the first cloud that he sees. He knows that the cloud is he can send the cloud as a messenger because the cloud is traveling north, and he decides to send a message through the cloud. That's all. So as you travel, you go through this path, and then there are just 4 months left in my for the shapam to end. So this is actually after 8 months of his shapam. He sees Nitwa Masan. Masa, so there the Masa refers to, I think, 8 months. I'm not sure what he uses here. Masan Nitwa. Trimshat Dina Samuha Ashtav Masana Nitwa. Yes. So 8 months are over because in the Uttara Megham he says, there are 4 months left, I will quickly come and meet you. That is the message that he gives the Yakshi in the Uttara Megha. So as he stands on a mountain, peak of a mountain, or somewhere, even a plateau, somewhere he's just standing there, he sees a cloud, the first cloud. So immediately he thinks, during rainy season, you are bound to one place. You cannot move out of that place. So the viraham is even more for people who are away from their beloved during the rainy season. So the moment he sees the first rain cloud, he knows that she is also going to feel the viraha even more during the rainy months. So he wants to give her an assurance. Since this is the first cloud, he wants to send the message through this first cloud to give an assurance to her that you don't worry, I'm still alive. you should also hold on to your life and wait for my return. Adhikaha he looks at that cloud and he decides to, he just looks at it. So in this shloka, it is just Megham Dadarsha. Saha Kami Megham Dadarsha. This is your main sentence here. Tasmin Adrau Tatra Ramagirav or Chitrakuta Parvate Katichit Abala Viprayuktaha Abala Viprayuktaha Saha Kami Kanakalaya Bramsharikta Prakoshtaha Kami. Because he was also very, very attached to his wife. He felt the viraham more. And during the viraha, automatically your intake is less. You don't feel like eating, so you will lose weight. And because he lost weight, Kanakavalaya Bramsha Rikta Prakoshtaha. Prakoshtam usually in the Manikatumbo. The elbow or something like that. I don't know what he is using here. Valayasya chuta Manibandaha. Manibandaha, some people say it is wrist. So his bangle that he was wearing on his wrist had completely slipped out. Apdi irkalam. Or this can be a kada madri which you wear in the elbow portion, right above the elbow. Kada, vanki madri solo. So that slips down to his wrist here. Because he has completely become thin. So his prakoshta, his elbow or that manibandha, manibandha aparam, right above the elbow. Prakoshta nale epume and the joint solradhu. So it's an elbow. Right above the elbow, seeks where that kada madri on potapa and the So that is what he is meaning. So that is a golden bangle that he is wearing up there. Tatratu tasya bhramshanat prakoshta pradeshaha riktaha vartate. It is empty without that valayam on that upper arm. Saha abala viprayuktaha iti karanat evam kanaka valayam bhramsham. Okay, so that bangle has fallen down because he is viprayukta, he is separated from his abala, from his girl who is also one to be pitied here. Kami Saha, who is a lover here. So Kami abdingarthukku Kamukaha. So he is very attached to his wife. Katichit Masana Nitva. See, Kalidasa is very clear in having everything as anonymous. So Yaksha is anonymous, Yakshi is anonymous. The number of months that are gone is also Katichita Masana Nitva. After spending a couple of months, that's all he says. What happens is Ashadhasya Prathama Divase, on the first day of Ashadha. Ashadha is the month where the rainy season starts and the first cloud is seen, rain cloud is seen. So Prathama Divase Vaprakrida णतगजप Prekshaniyam Aslishta Sanum Megham Dadarsha. He saw a cloud which was Aslishta Sanum, which was hugging the peak of the mountain where he was standing. So you have to imagine that he is standing in a plateau kind of place and he sees a peak, and on that peak the mountain is hugging the Sanu Pradesha is a peak also. And then how is it? It is in the form of Vaprakrida Gaja Iva Prekshaniyam Vartate. It looks as beautiful as an elephant which is engaged, which has been transformed. It is the Megham is so beautiful that it has transformed itself into an elephant that is engaged in Vaprakrida. Vaprakrida Nama, I think he describes it here. Utkhata Kelishu Tiryagdanta Prahara Hastim Iva Prekshitum Yogyam. So it is like an elephant which is bent down to Utkatakeli. Utkatakeli Nama, to pull up the dust, and with its tusk it tries to pull up the dust and throw it onto itself. So elephant வந்து எப்படின்னா யானை தன் தலையிலேயே மண்ணு போட்டுக்கோம்பா. It throws mud on its own head is an expression. So what it does is it goes and takes a bath. As soon as it comes out, as the water dries, the water will make its skin dehydrated. So it doesn't want that dehydration, so it covers its body with mud so that the soft skin gets covered by mud. Now that is the Utkata Keli. One answer for that. The other thing is, there are these elephants which keep hitting a wall. Adenna and idula varum. Jayalakshmi river. Rendu side I think in Kiratarjuniyamla varunu nenikiren. Jayalakshmi seems to idla Raghuvamsham 12th sarga, where the victory Lakshmi seems to be moving from this side to another side, like between two elephants which are hitting against a wall. Bitti gaja iva abdinu or edathla varum. So they usually practice against walls or mounds of mud to practice for battlefield. So that is also called Vaprakrida. It is a specific kind of posture that the elephants undertake, and they use their tusks to dig up the earth and throw it. That is Vaprakrida. This because it is against the mountain, it seems like an elephant which is trying to hit that mountain and throw up the mud. That's how the megham, the cloud is. Tasmin adrau katichid abala viprayuktasya kami नीत्वा मासान् कनकवलयभ भ्रंशरिक्त प्रकोष्ठः आषाढस्य प्रथम दिवसे मेघमाश्लिष्टसानुं वप्रक्रीडाभरण णतगजप प्रेक्षणीयं ददर्श. उपमालंकारः. Here उपमा यत्र सादृश्य लक्ष्मीः उल्लसति द्वयोः. This is a definition from Kuvalananda. So यत्र द्वयोः sadrishya lakshmihi ullasati, where between two objects you have a wealth of similarity between the two objects, that there the alankara is called upama. But there are four parts for upama alankara. You need an upamanam, is the standard of comparison. Idudha matta varanayoho iva. Correct. Jayashree rantara vedihi matta varanayor iva. Vikrama vyatiharena. The victory between Rama and Ravana was such that it was like both elephants. It's a nice sloka. So Upamanam is the standard of comparison. Upameya is that which we are comparing. Right now we are describing. That is the Prakritam, Upameyam. Sadharana Dharma is the common quality with which we are comparing the two of them. So we can't assume some quality that we see and say, oh, there is no similarity between these two objects. The poet wants to compare these two. So which means in his mind, he has a Sadharana Dharma with which he is comparing these two objects. Our work is not to criticize the Upama. Our work is to find out what is the Sadharana Dharma in the poet's mind. That is when the Upama will be beautiful. Okay? Upama Vachaka Shabdaha can be many. As we saw, I think last time, Iva, Yatha, Vat, Va, there are many words that can be used as Upama Vachaka Shabda. Etesham Chaturnam Madhye Ekasya Dvayoho Trayanam Va Anupadanat. If 1, 2 or 3 are not said, then it is called Lupta Upama. Something is missing. Atra Vaprakrida Gaja Iva Prekshaniyam iti Vaktavye Iva padasya lopaha samasta padatvat. In that vigraha vakyam, in the samasta padam, Iva is lost. So it is an upama vachaka lupta upama alankara. The vachaka shabda Iva is not there. The rest are there. Prekshaniyam is your sadharana dharma. Beautiful. Good to look at. Lovely to look at. That becomes the sadharana dharma. Vaprakrida gajaha is the upamanam, megham is the meghaha is your upameya. Clear? Adukulla 7:15. Seri. We'll stop with this.